Welcome to the Batmandrew podcast, the podcast that nobody asked for. In this podcast, we cover our love for video games, movies, television shows, and really anything else that sparks our love for fandom, all from the perspective of an everyday dude like me. So thank you guys for being here and joining me today. So how about we go ahead and dive into today's episode's campaign. Alright, did everyone have an opportunity to be able to watch the Wolverine trailer for the new Wolverine game coming out next fall? My God, this trailer gave me everything that I was hoping to be able to really see from a good first look of the Wolverine game. I think that my initial thought, obviously we don't know much about the storyline, but we saw some of the characters that could be in it, so we could always start the speculation early. But I think that aside from not knowing much about the details of the plot, the gameplay looks amazing in this. The visuals are stunning, and it's not finished yet, right? They're going to continue to keep tweaking and working at this game, and I think that my biggest concern with Insomniac going into making this Wolverine game was, don't just give us another Spider-Man game, right? Spider-Man is, I love the Spider-Man games. I love Spider-Man 1 and 2. I thought the Miles Morales game was really good. But in regards to the style and the gameplay, the characters, the dialogue, all three of those games are very consistent with each other. But I didn't know how Insomniac would do with a character like Wolverine, who honestly is very drastically different than Spider-Man. So I wanted to know, are we going to make this mature rated? Are we going to give us a good, gritty, monster Wolverine who also is going to allow us to be able to feel a lot of complexity in the character and his backstory and who he is? And although we don't know the story arc yet, visually, this isn't Spider-Man. So I thought that the fact that we are going to get a very mature rated game, the amount of blood splatter we saw in that trailer alone tells us this isn't Spider-Man. But I think it begs a bigger question. Is Insomniac the best superhero video game maker of all time? So far, Spider-Man 1 and 2, Spider-Man Miles Morales, all the different DLCs that they've gotten. I'm not a big DLC guy, but I usually play all the DLCs that came out for Spider-Man because it is, they're good. They're really good. They're more than just, here's an excuse for us to get another $15 out of you. They put a lot of time and attention into this. And I think that what I'm the most excited about for Wolverine is when they took their time, Insomniac, to develop the Doc Ock character and develop the Venom character and to give us this awesome version of Kraven the Hunter, just to be able to set up this epic battle between Kraven and Venom, that is honestly one of the best fight scenes that I think I've ever played of any game, let alone superhero games. Insomniac understands the world of superheroes. And so my question is, are they the best superhero video game maker around or of all time? And I know that's crazy to think because you have Rocksteady and the Arkham games, which are phenomenal, by the way. I love the Arkham games. Batman. My podcast is the Batmandrew. I love Batman. But I think Insomniac is there. If this game hits, I am definitely for sure ready to say that, because although the Arkham games gave us some amazing gameplay with Batman, if Insomniac hits with this Wolverine game, they're taking multiple characters and giving us this really cool, amazing gaming experience. And I think they got to be the best around, but I don't know. I just think at the end of the day, I'm super excited for this game, and hats off to PlayStation for that trailer. In a list of things that I thought I would never say in my life, I love Magic the Gathering. And I'm as shocked as you guys are. if you are someone who actually knows me, um, that's not a side of the nerdy fandom that I ever thought I would be on. But Final Fantasy kickstarted me into a journey into Magic the Gathering, so much so that I'm not only playing it, I not only have aspirations to compete competitively, I've created an entire documentary series surrounded by my journey of Magic the Gathering that's on my YouTube channel now called Untapped Potential. Shameless plug, right? But what has really kind of piqued my interest and has really like set my fandom like ablaze is this Magic the Gathering PlayStation collab with Secret Lair. So I am a huge PlayStation guy. Even though I own an Xbox and I own a Nintendo Switch, when you're talking about the exclusive games, like, PlayStation is it. So you're talking about God of War, Uncharted, Horizon Zero Dawn, Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us. These are some of the most iconic games of all time. And the fact that, they're all PlayStation games, like, makes it all the better. There is a little flying around here. You saw it just on my microphone. So, excuse me for being distracted for a second. Back to the PlayStation collab. So, MagicCon is happening as we speak, as I'm recording this episode, is happening in Atlanta. And a ton of news dropped, and I'm excited to be able to talk about it today. So, with the PlayStation collab, I just want to say this. Although we don't know a whole lot about it, there has been some more news that have come out about some of the cards and what they do and the functionality of them. I am just going to say this. That a lot of people are against the Universes Beyond. And if you don't know what that is, Universes Beyond is Magic the Gathering's collab with things that are outside of the world of Magic the Gathering. So Final Fantasy, for example, is a Universes Beyond. And Final Fantasy is what brought me into playing Magic. And there's a lot of people who are against the Universes Beyond because they don't feel like it's real Magic. And I think that's silly, to be honest. I think anything to bring people into the game and to play more, I think is always a good thing. But I don't think I would have ever gotten interested in Magic the Gathering had Final Fantasy not been a collab. Like, it just wasn't something that was on my radar, but I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan. This collab with Secret Lair, although it's not going to be a complete set, it's only a few cards, the Aloy set from Horizon Zero Dawn, that would have got me into Magic the Gathering. I'm ridiculously excited for this collab, but specifically that card. Now, if you have ever played Horizon Zero Dawn, and you know how Magic the Gathering is played, I think that out of all these that we're getting with the Secret Lair drop, I think that Horizon Zero Dawn is the one that sets up the best to be able to really be able to be a part of Magic the Gathering's universe. Like, I think it sets up the best out of all these franchises to really kind of get deep into that lore of what Magic the Gathering is. And so as they continue these Universes Beyond collabs, and I think that they will because they're very lucrative for Wizards of the Coast who makes Magic, I think that we hopefully, fingers crossed, will eventually get a Horizon Zero Dawn because Aloy is my favorite video game character of all time. And I think like it is amazing world that they've built within Horizon, and as they go ahead and hopefully one day we get part 3 of this amazing series, I think it's only going to extend the lore and the mythos of Aloy and her world, and I could see it down the line really being something that Magic the Gathering kind of sinks their teeth in. So also coming out of Atlanta, more Final Fantasy cards and with that collab, which I'm really excited for. So you can see right here behind me, which is the scenescape for the Spider-Man collab. Actually, I'll grab it right here so that you can see. Now, I have the art cards in here, but these are actual cards that you can play within the world of Magic the Gathering, and I got that scenescape because I love the artwork behind it. I think it looks amazing. They're making those for Final Fantasy, and although I'm excited about some of the other cards, like especially the Cloud card that's going to have the artwork from the pixelated Final Fantasy VII game, I'm excited for the scenescape, and specifically for Final Fantasy VIII, because I think that's the game that is maybe the most underrated Final Fantasy game. It's a great game, and Squall, and then the whole world there, and the way that game played out. I understand that there were faults with it, and that people didn't like the junction system of the game and things like that took them out of the gameplay. But Final Fantasy VIII is an amazing game, and so I'm excited about being able to pick up that set, and I'm just excited to be able to spend more time in the world of Final Fantasy, and Magic the Gathering. And so I think that this is only going to be a good thing. So I'm super excited for that. But then we got kind of a release calendar for some of the sets coming up in 2026. And I want to be able to go over those real quick and give you my initial thoughts. So Lorwyn Eclipsed is a universe that was already within Magic the Gathering that they're going to expand on. That's not for me. I'm sure I'll pick up something from it, but I'm excited for that one because I think it'll get Scarlet really into the gameplay. There's an unannounced Universes Beyond collab coming out early next year, and there's been a lot of speculation on what that could be. I'm keeping my fingers crossed and holding on that I hope it's going to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because I think that would be really cool within the world of Magic the Gathering. And then there's something called Secrets of Strixhaven. Don't know what that is, but it looks cool. But then right up my fandom, Marvel Superheroes. And if you watch the panel out of MagicCon, one of the things that they talked about were these characters were designed from the comics, not from the MCU, which I'm really excited for that, because one of the things I love most about Magic is the artwork and the art style behind the cards. So I'm excited to see what they're going to come up with in the world of Marvel Comics. And I'm really excited for Squirrel Girl. And I didn't think I would ever say that. But they dropped that she'll be a part of the set. And I think that's super cool. There's also The Hobbit coming. And I know there was a Lord of the Rings collab. I own a few cards, but that's really honestly not for me. But I'm excited for the people who are excited. And then you also have a set called Reality Fracture. Don't know what that is. They didn't give much information about it. But, hopefully it ends up being good. But the one that has been rumored for a while that I'm honestly more excited about than I thought I would be is Star Trek. Now, they talked about how this was going to be all generations of Star Trek. It's going to be everything from Captain Kirk on. And then, I think you're... Not that you have to, but I think that's the smart way to go, right? Like, Final Fantasy was all the Final Fantasy games. I think with this, you're only going to be able to open up that world more. But what I'm really excited about for this Star Trek collab is that I think that Star Trek is a franchise that is literally dying. And I think that's because the fans of the show are literally dying. Like, it's an old show with an old fandom. And although I know there's new Star Trek stuff out, the fact of the matter is the Star Trek movies that have come out recently with Chris Pine, although I loved all of them, they weren't super hits, right? And we've been waiting on a fourth one for a while, and there's been talk about maybe Chris Hemsworth, a prequel, because he was, before he was Thor, he was Captain Kirk's dad in that first Star Trek movie. So I would love to see what they do with Star Trek and their collab. But I'm hoping this brings new fans back to it. Because although I do love Star Wars, I love Star Wars, I grew up in a Star Trek household. My older brother was a huge fan of Star Trek. And even my dad loves Star Trek as well. And so, yeah, I think that there's a lot of potential here with those collabs. But what did you think? Did you get to see anything come out of MagicCon? I'm excited to be able to go to the one next year, which is going to be in Vegas. I mean, there's several throughout the year, but the one we're going to is the one in Vegas. And I'm really excited because it looks like they're going to really hit home on the Marvel Superheroes collab. And again, that's kind of right up my alley in the world of fandom. But I want to know, what stuck out to you? Did you like any of the new collabs coming? And what do you think of the Secret Lair PlayStation collab? Let me know in the comments. It is game week for Ghost of Yotei. Yotei? You know what I'm talking about. So, it drops this Thursday, on the 2nd, I believe. Might be Wednesday night. But anyways, we're in the week of the release of the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yotei. and I'm super excited for it. Like, Ghost of Tsushima, I literally just finished playing a couple months ago. I'd never played it before. It was always on my list of playing it. I actually owned it, a physical copy of it that I had never played before. I bought it when I bought my PlayStation 5. And yeah, I just had never gotten into it. And I started playing it, and I was like, what the hell was I waiting on? Like, this game is phenomenal. So I dove headfirst in, loved every minute of it. Thought there were, some things that I could have done without, but that's for any game, right? So I was really excited for the sequel, until I learned that the sequel actually had nothing to do with the characters we had in Ghost of Tsushima, which kind of dampened my excitement a little bit. But let's dive into the plot. So, the Ghost of Yotei follows the story of, I'm going to butcher these names, but Atsu, a vengeful mercenary seeking retribution against the Yotei Six, a group of outlaws led by Lord Satu, who slaughtered her family and left her for dead 16 years prior. Set in rural northern Japan around Mount Yotei, in the early 1600s, Atsu adapts the persona of Onryu, a vengeful spirit, to hunt down her family's killer. The game is a revenge tale inspired by samurai cinema, focusing on Atsu's brutal path for justice. So again, my apologies for butchering any of those names, but I love a good revenge story, right? You look at, for example, Last of Us Part 2, right? That story is about consequences to your actions. So this individual, who Atsu is obviously on a path to be able to seek redemption for the death of her family. And I think a good revenge story can really have a lot of complexity and get us invested right away, especially if the intro, if we see her as a child and her family dying, all that kind of stuff, it can really get us tied and invested right away for that character and for their storyline. So look, visually, this game looks honestly miles ahead of Ghost of Tsushima, which I'm surprised by, because Ghost of Tsushima was a visually beautiful game. Like, some of the parts that I loved the most about Ghost of Tsushima was just walking around on my horse and just seeing the vast landscape and the colors and everything. So I think that this is only going to up the bar there. I love the fact that through this franchise, and it looks like you're going to have the same here with the sequel, that you have to change your combat style based off who you're fighting against. Because in a world where action combat is starting to lead the way, and you get less and less turn-based and less strategy to your fighting mechanics, I think that the fact that you have to switch up and pay attention to who you're fighting, or else like you physically won't be able to win that fight, I think that is a great way to be able to introduce some complexity to your fighting style. So yeah, I think that's going to be great, and I'm really looking forward to the game. What is also very unique for me for the Ghost of Yotei is that I am going to be purchasing my last physical copy of a PlayStation game with this. A few months ago, I went and traded in a lot of my physical copies of my video game collection into GameStop, which surprisingly I got quite a bit out of. I was a little bit shocked by. But one of the things I was able to do at the time was I got 20% more on my trade-ins if I put down money to a pre-release or pre-order of a game. So I went ahead and pre-ordered Ghost of Yotei because I knew I was going to play it. It was the next game coming out that I was really excited for. And I just figured if I already had the credit, I'm just going to go ahead and pay it off and just have it done and over with. So I'm picking that game up this week. I'm really excited for it. I don't know how soon I'll be able to jump in to play it, because I'm going to start playing Expedition 33 here soon. I'm going to start actually streaming on Twitch while I'm playing the game. But yeah, this game looks like it's going to be amazing, and I'm excited to be able to kind of jump into it. So let me know. Are you picking the game up? Did you pre-order it? Are you doing physical or digital? I'd love to be able to hear your thoughts. But what do you think about this game? How do you think it's going to play out? Let me know in the comments. So, Marvel Zombies was not high on my list of things that I really cared to watch, but I had heard good things about it. So, last night, with a little bit of reservation, I grabbed my tablet, connected to the internet in my hotel, threw on Disney Plus, and I watched all 4 episodes of Marvel Zombies. And here are my non-spoiler thoughts. I'll put up a spoiler review later on my Loot Drop playlist, but my non-spoiler review here, overall, I thought it was good. Did I love it? Did I think it was great? No, but I love the fact that Marvel, albeit animated, went out and made what hopefully will be a self-contained storyline, because I watched the first season of What If. I hadn't seen anything else that came after it because I really wasn't a big fan of it. But I love the zombie portion of the What If series, but I also love a few of the episodes and the interesting character arcs that they took. Where it lost me was whenever we introduced the kind of darker Doctor Strange into Multiverse of Madness. I just didn't care for that. Like, I don't want this to be attached or tied into the MCU. Let it be its own universe. Sure, is it out there in the multiverse? Yeah, but I don't want any impact here to carry over to my Marvel movies. And that being said, this feels like a very self-contained story, and I enjoyed that. I thought some of the character dynamics were great. I thought that some of the character choices in the series was a little bit questionable, but I also understand that we're playing with a little bit of a limited hand. But when it came to the action of the series, and it came to the visual aspects with the animation, damn, it was really, really good. Like the animation in this show, for the opening scene. Starts out, and this isn't really a spoiler. I'm just like, it has nothing to do with the show itself. But the opening scene starts out with kind of a close-up shot of some greenery, with the sun behind you, kind of coming in. It's a little bit of a unfocused, at sunset golden hour type shot, and I had to do a double take because I was like, am I looking at animation here? Like, it was a very well done animated show. You put those kind of graphics on top of how some of the action turned out to be, and some of the fight scenes, I just thought it was really, really good. And there's a lot, like, I don't know if anyone else felt this, but I feel like there's a lot of comparison with the fight scenes and the visuals to X-Men 97, but I thought this did a much better job with it. So those were a couple of the highlights. I will also say that honestly, when it comes to the animation, I think it's the best animation we've gotten since the Spider-Verse movies. And that includes like all genres, or different, IPs like K-pop. I really liked K-pop. Arcane, I love Arcane. But I thought the animation here was better than both of those. And then I will say that, again, with it being a one-off story, I love the fact that it's self-contained. But I did feel like it was a little incomplete at the end. And I won't tell you why. I just kind of, I enjoyed everything until we got to about the last 15 minutes of the last episode. And then I just kind of left sitting there thinking, like, for why? So overall, is it worth the watch? I really think it is. They're short episodes, only about 30 minutes apiece. And then, you're only about 4 episodes, so about the length of a movie. So it's definitely worth checking out and seeing it, solely just because it's something different and something fresh that we haven't gotten from Marvel yet. So, but be on the lookout on my YouTube channel for my full spoiler review for Marvel Zombies. Alright, so James Gunn shared a photo image of the completed Superman sequel script called Man of Tomorrow. And I mean, he left us all speculating, right? We know that it's going to be a Lex Superman team up. We know that through some context clues of the picture he put out, that more than likely Brainiac is going to be the villain of this sequel. And I think that's a good villain. If that ends up being the route he goes, I think it's a great villain, because you need someone big and powerful for, to give reason to Lex and Superman teaming up for this sequel. But honestly, it really kind of, there wasn't a whole lot there past just the one picture talking about the script. And so, of course, us as fans, we're, going a mile a minute, trying to be like, what does this mean? Can we figure it out? And I have a couple of thoughts here. So all of this is obviously without seeing the Supergirl movie. So there might be things in that movie that would lean to change my mind. But minor spoilers for Superman and for Peacemaker if you haven't seen either one of those yet. But obviously we know it's public information. This is going to be a Lex and Superman team up. And so again, you're going to need a big threat and a villain that will be able to lead to that kind of team up between two individuals. So if you haven't seen Peacemaker, this last episode of Peacemaker, the Lex was, the Rick Flag Sr. came to Lex while he was in prison to be able to get help to be able to track down Peacemaker and the door, the gateway that leads into the multiverse, right? And Lex, only thing he asked for in return was to be moved into a non-meta human prison. And I think that's going to come into play here for the sequel. Like, I really do. I don't think that, like, that wasn't just an afterthought, right? Because you could have went and forced someone at LexCorp to tell you, I guess was it LexCorp? I don't remember which one it was in the movie. But you could have went there and had someone tell you how to find out this information. You brought Nicholas Hoult into this as a cameo, I think specifically for a reason. And I think that was to set up what is going to be the reason why Lex is in a position to help for the sequel. But then also Brainiac, like I can't imagine what other character it would be other than Brainiac if with that cover of the human head and the anatomy and everything like that on that script. So it led me to think, okay, like what kind of story would they be able to tell? And again, spoilers if you haven't seen Superman, but the big like what the hell moment in Superman was when they decrypted the message from Jor-El saying, like, I sent you to Earth to be a ruler. Like, you're going to repopulate Krypton. You're going to rule over the humans. And you're going to be their god, right? And that obviously changed a lot into the... it didn't change a lot. There's been Superman stories that's had that out there. But from what most people are accustomed to when it comes to the Superman... backstory, that's something that they're not used to, right? Like he sent Kal-El to Earth to be their savior and to help them and all that kind of stuff, not to be their ruler and their dictator, right? So I think that is going to play a pivotal part in what we're going to see in the second one. So here's my thoughts on what we're going to get out of this storyline, okay? So there's a few storylines in the comics that I think could come into play here, but there's one specifically where Brainiac is evolved as a Kryptonian AI. And I think that, within that storyline, that, he's almost like a supercomputer that has kind of archived and was created by the Kryptonians. And, kind of similar to what we have now with the way AI is going. But, he, similar to other AI storylines, he malfunctions and kind of evolves to conclude that, like, Krypton's destruction is ultimately inevitable. And that the only way to really save Krypton is to preserve the small amount of its culture. And then allow the rest of it to be destroyed. And I think that we're going to see that here. And I think that message from Jor-El, I think Brainiac is going to be the one and the reason that message came out the way it did. Because you saw like its glitchiness and everything. It was like, how could this be? And there was a lot of speculation. I think the message itself is real in regards to what like our human people know on how to be able to interpret an alien message, right? But I think that it's going to be altered by Brainiac, because I think Brainiac would ultimately want Superman, Kal-El, to be on Earth to help restore Krypton and to be the ruler of Earth and to repopulate and all that kind of stuff, right? So I think Brainiac is going to come down. The storylines in the comics, he comes down and reveals himself to Superman and as a Kryptonian archive for the Fortress of Solitude and all that kind of stuff. And I think that ultimately, like, he's going to realize that Superman didn't come to the Earth with the intention that he wanted, and that was to be able to repopulate and save Krypton. So I think that's where you're going to have its struggles. I think Brainiac at its core is going to want to break down the Earth into its lowest properties and rebuild Krypton. And I think you're going to have Superman, who is obviously not going to want that to happen. And however the power scale you make Brainiac to be is obviously going to be enough that you're going to have Lex be able to help with this. So I think that's kind of the route they're going to go. For Brainiac, if that ends up being, like, to me, that seems like the most logical choice in regards to the story arc, if they're going to adapt a story. But yeah, I think that ultimately this movie, I think I see the breadcrumbs leading up to this Man of Steel sequel, this Superman sequel, Man of Tomorrow. And I think it's going to be with Brainiac. And I think Brainiac is going to come to Earth to be able to restore Krypton to its former glory. And I think you're going to have Superman and Lex team up in order to stop that from happening. What I really want to see, though, is how they do Brainiac. Because you have several different types of Brainiacs in the comics. My favorite adaptation of Brainiac, though, is from the Injustice video game. Like, I think that Brainiac is super cool. Like, I think he is powerful, he's menacing, and it's almost like, honestly, really a mix of, like, Thanos and Tony Stark, right? Someone who is big and powerful and can do all this stuff like Thanos, but someone who is so smart and conniving. And I think that it's going to really set up to start this team up with Lex and Superman, because thinking about it, you're going to need someone. Lex is clearly the smartest person on the face of the earth in this universe. You're going to need someone with the intelligence of Lex Luthor, with the strength of Superman, in order to be able to fight this being of Brainiac. What I don't want is, I don't want this huge alien army coming in and I'm done with the army stuff, right? Like, I understand you got to have cannon fodder and you got to have, creatures to be able to die and be destroyed and all that kind of stuff. I get all that. But what I'm tired of is, like, the whole alien army, trend where, like, it's just like, here we go. Like, we got to have this big epic battle, so let us bring all of our creatures, whether it's I don't remember the names of the little demons from the Justice League movie, or, like, was it the Chitauri? Is that the name of it? From Avengers? But anyways, like, I'm just tired of all of that. Like, I want to see one villain that is just so brooding and powerful that he's going to be able to kick the ass of all of our heroes, and that's what I want to see out of Brainiac. And I'm hoping that, obviously, with the intelligence side of it, we're going to get a very complex storyline and something that's really cool, that's going to allow for Lex Luthor to really shine in this movie. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm going the route of Brainiac being a Kryptonian AI. I think that makes the most logical sense for the story, but maybe I'm missing something. Tell me in the comments. What do you think? Are you excited for the Man of Steel sequel? My God. Are you excited for the Man of Tomorrow sequel? And yeah, what do you think? What route are we going? Let me know in the comments. In order to give us some news that would take away from the fact that Tom Holland smashed his head and got hurt on the set of Brand New Day, let's give us some casting news, right? That was Marvel's response to it. And I kid a little bit, but hopefully Tom Holland's okay. Seems like he is. But they gave us a little bit of casting news for Spider-Man Brand New Day, and that's Marvin Jones III was casted as Tombstone in the upcoming Spider-Man Brand New Day. Let's talk about this casting, for example. First of all, the character of Tombstone he's kind of a gangster, for New York City. Kind of a little bit of a thug type, crime underground syndicate type individual. And I think that he is very low-level street criminal type person who ultimately causes a lot of issues for Spider-Man in the comics and in the game and the anime series, all that kind of stuff, right? He's a very good character. He's a very fun character. However, when you're talking about people who could play them, because he has a very specific look about him, unless if you're going to do CGI or you change the character, I think you need someone like Marvin Jones III to be able to come in and play it because, man, like, not only does he have a unique look about him, but he's physically intimidating, and his voice brings such, like, gravitas to the character. Like, it is an amazing decision, casting decision. So much so that the Spider-Verse did it first. For Tombstone in the Spider-Verse, he plays the voice of Tombstone in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And I think that this is an amazing decision, right? I don't think that the two have anything to do with each other. I don't think that, he's in this, so maybe we're going to get Miles Morales and all this kind of stuff. I don't think any of that's going to happen. But I do think that it's just a case of a character, honestly, just born to play someone, right? And so I'm excited for this casting. But given what we know about Spider-Man Brand New Day, we know that Scorpion's going to be involved. We know, I've heard rumors, I don't know if it was confirmed or not, but that Mr. Negative, who was the original character made in the Spider-Man video game, I think that he's going to be involved in this movie. You have Punisher, who's going to be in this movie. You do have Hulk, who's going to be in it, which is the only, kind of, like, sticks out like a sore thumb to what I'm about to say. But then you also have the casting of Tombstone. And what I hope this is doing, what I hope this is setting up for, is to giving us a very gritty, down-to-earth neighborhood Spider-Man. And I know that this is the setup movie. This is the last one we're getting before we jump into Doomsday. But I don't think you have to have anything to do with Doomsday in order to make this movie a great movie. I don't think we have to have this multi-universe galactic... Like, we already did the multi-universe thing with the last Spider-Man movie, like No Way Home. I want this Spider-Man, who is now detached from really the MCU, because everyone forgot he was Spider-Man, right? I want this Spider-Man to bring us that neighborhood Spider-Man feel. We got rid of the Tony Stark armor spider suit. It looks like he has a more practical Spider-Man suit from what we're accustomed to with the character. And he's out of high school. I think that this is setting up for us to be able to have a really down-to-earth, gritty Spider-Man. And you team him up with the Punisher. You also have, Tombstone being casted and things like that. And yeah, you have some of your super villains like Scorpion, if Mr. Negative ends up being in it and all that kind of stuff. But all those characters, they're not like, space galactic type characters. And so I think that you honestly, I think they're setting up for the Sinister Six, or their version of the Sinister Six. But I think in this movie alone, I think that we're finally going to take a step back. Not everything has to be multiverse. Not everything has to be this, universe saving plot. And I just hope that we just save New York City. Let's start back. Let's revert back to some simpler storylines, because they work. They work. We don't need everything just to be an enhancement, because at some point you're going to run out of universes to save. Bring us a darker, not have to be super dark, but bring us a darker, grittier Spider-Man with that neighborhood feel, and I'm there for it. And that's it for today's show, guys. Thank you again for watching and checking out my podcast. If you made it this far, truly, genuinely, I really appreciate you being here to listen. I know that our lives are busy, and it's hard to make time for the things that you love. So the fact that you stuck around, took time out of your day to listen to my podcast, it really does. It means the world to me. So thank you again for making time for the show. Remember to like and subscribe. Also, most importantly, share, because I want to be able to grow this community and this fandom. So thank you guys again. I'll see you guys again next time at the same Batmandrew time on the same Batmandrew channel. Thank you guys. Listen, we have a post-credit scene. So, dropping on my channel the first Wednesday of the month is going to be my editorial video for my top 10 favorite video games of all time. But I'm not alone for this discussion. I actually have a guest with me. So, if you want to know who it is, you want to know where to be able to find them, and you want to know what our top 10 favorite video games of all time, make sure to check out the channel. That video dropping on the first Wednesday in October. Thank you guys.